Havenites, I am Josh Olive with Haven Comics, and reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. It is Thursday night. That means it is time for some shop talk. And that means that Alan and I are going to be talking some shop. And we've got all kinds of shop to talk about. So we're just going to go ahead and bring the man on. What is up, Alan? Dude.
Cut that out. Cut it out. All right.
Dude.
So what's up? What's going on?
I get an organ removed, and I don't get any applause, no nothing.
Boo!
That's more appropriate.
There you go. You get that.
Thank you.
Did you ever invite Nick over for sushi?
Oh, no. Oh. No, they don't let you keep your gallstones anymore, so they don't let you make sushi out of your gallstones anymore. It's real unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw that text message and I was like, what in the world is he thinking?
Isn't that intro great? I love that intro. It makes me very happy. Good to see you, Daniel Major. How you doing, sir?
But you know, the good thing about the intro is you can always rewatch.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And we definitely like those clicks and views. That helps tremendously.
It does indeed. When are we going to have you on the show, Daniel Major? That's a question I need to ask you. We need to have you on here. Talk some comics, talk some old muscle cars, talk some good stuff. Been a minute. We should do that. So before we get started, just for anybody who's been under a rock, it's been a rough week in the nerd community. We lost James Earl Jones at the age of 93. We lost comic book artist John Cassaday at the age of 52. And we just lost Carl Moline today. Don't know what the cause was there. He's had some health issues for a little bit, but nobody, at least that I know of, thought that they were life-threatening. But things clearly took a turn. So God bless the families of all those folks, all their friends, and go back and read a comic book that these guys did. Go back and watch Star Wars. Go back and watch Field of Dreams. Go back and watch that episode of Big Bang Theory. It's a classic.
Tijuana.
But yeah, that's a rough day. Been a rough week on that front. So yeah, that really is a shame. Yeah, you ought to. It would be good to come on and do some talking. It's the kind of thing we love. So, you want to start with comic reviews, or do we want to start with a little discussion on the DC all-in stuff?
Let's talk some comic books because we might have somebody jumping on here in a few minutes. It's a kid's bath time and all that, so I just heard back from him.
Nick, are you jealous?
Nick, I saw that whatever it is you had going on Monday night, and dude, you can let it grow as much as you want to, and all it's going to do is turn into a comb over. It's not covering anything up. So, and Nick did want us to talk Null, and I did watch that trailer today. You definitely get a shot of Null in the Carnage Last Dance, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know if I'm going to watch that movie. I didn't even see Venom Carnage. I don't know if I'm going to watch Carnage Last Dance.
I can tell you the definitive answer on my part. Nope.
What you do see of Null, I mean, it looked good. I mean, you saw the white stringy hair coming down, but that was really and truly about it.
I would say Norman Reedus is about the weirdest casting choice for that character I can think of. Now, he may have more depth of an actor as an actor than I know about, so hopefully he proves me wrong. But boy, that just seems like a very strange casting choice. Ooh, that's unpleasant.
I know. I know a lot of people are. It was the whole Daryl, I mean, Walking Dead, all that stuff. That's why everybody loves him. But to me, Norman Reedus will always has been, and always will be one of the Boondock Saints.
True.
That movie was absolute perfection from beginning to end. So, and that's what I'll always remember him for.
Now, Nick, we're all going to agree that Thor 4 was not a good movie. However, Null doesn't have a chance because Venom 1 was bad, Venom 2 was bad, and Venom 3 is going to be bad. It's already doomed to failure from the start. So Thor at least had a shot because Thor 3 was pretty darn great.
Supposedly they are making a third one, but I guess they can only do those sequels once every 20 years. But speaking of Venom, that is a nice segue.
Well, I'm known for my nice segues. There we go.
Finally read it.
And I told you so. I think I feel I feel sufficiently justified in saying, even though I haven't heard what you think yet.
Okay, here's my thing on it. I thought it was really cool that all of our heroes are either dead or decrepit old people.
Yep.
I liked that. I did. I liked that a lot. Nick, this is Aliens versus Avengers #1. There we go. It was really good. The ending of it, and this is the reason why it was a good segue, is Miles Morales. I've never been that big of a Miles Morales fan. I mean, it's just not been that one. Yeah, Nick, you do need this book.
Good luck getting it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the A cover here, like Josh, didn't you tell me it was going for like $20?
It's already going for $20. Yeah.
This turned out
everywhere.
Yeah, and it's good. I'm sure there's going to be a second print somewhere. But the way that it ended, I thought that was really cool. I was not expecting Venom to be a part of Miles Morales, and was definitely not expecting a xenomorph to get assimilated into all that.
Oh no, that was the part that really caught my attention. I was like, huh.
Yeah, the entire book, I was kind of like, hey, this is pretty good. I can deal with it. I mean, I like the story they're telling. And then the way that it ended with that, I was like, oh, I've definitely got to get issue 2 now.
Yeah, because it made sense.
Yeah, it really did. And I'm wondering if Venom is going to end up knowing of the xenomorphs.
That's entirely possible.
So I think, it could be a good tie-in. I love the fact that this is happening outside of continuity.
Yes.
That's the way these things are supposed to happen. Blood Hunt could have been so much better if it would have been outside of continuity. Next up, and I've been...
let's just, for the record, let's just state, that was a heck of a good book.
It really was.
The world building was good. The way it integrated the universes really was effective. I thought it was really, really effective. It was really well done.
Yeah, and they did not rush getting a xenomorph on the page.
No, and Asad Ribic's artwork was great. It was really moody and set the tone.
Yeah, very, very bleak world. I love the way that Waylon played into it.
Yeah, that was a surprise for me. I really didn't think he was going to factor in at all, but there he was. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and it was perfectly done. It was perfectly done the way he played into it. It made sense. It wasn't like he was just thrown in there.
No.
It's definitely got the potential. We just have to wait to see if they maintain it. We'll just have to wait and see how it does.
Well, and being an out of continuity book, there's no reason for them not to be able to do whatever they want, right? They can tell the kind of story they want.
But that's also going to come down to if Marvel's editorial gets involved.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Hickman, and I think they're going to pretty much let him do what he wants.
Yeah, good point. Next up, I've been raving about this literally since issue 1. We're on issue 15, and I'm looking forward to each and every single issue. I cannot wait till the next issue, but Green Arrow. By Josh Williamson's been writing Green Arrow. This has been a great book.
Green Arrow is the place to be.
This is one of those rare issues where your title character is really and truly not even in it. It's the entire supporting cast, and it's a great issue. We're still doing the Absolute Power tie-in. I really, really, really wish my people that are reading Absolute Power, if y'all have not read Green Arrow, pick up the trades, and you'll realize how big of a part in Absolute Power Green Arrow really and truly played. And will probably still end up playing. It's just yet to be seen. Next up, and is this the one? I got to make sure this is the one. I texted you about this the other night, and you said no, and then you just completely and totally blew me off on this. I need to make sure that...
Don't make me laugh, you jerk.
Yes, this is the proper issue. That is Fantastic Four, issue 24.
Yeah,
did you ever read it?
It's in my stack, but it's at the store, and I didn't have it with me, so I haven't been able to read it all week. I know.
I am so hurt because there is literally...
Talk about it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm still going to read it.
Okay, so let's back it up. We had issue 23, which was Johnny...
Hang on, I got to jump for a sec.
Okay. So in issue 23, we basically had, it was Johnny Storm's perspective of this story. In issue 24, we get the sequel to it. It's a 2-issue story arc. It's a really good story arc. But in issue 24, we've got Reed Richards' side of the story. It's kind of, he's taken over you got Johnny Storm narrated the first part of it. And now we have Reed Richards narrating the second part of it. A lot of things happen, and Reed basically ends up in it's almost like the size, I can't remember exactly what they called it, but it's like an atom. It's a spaceship that can shrink all the way down, and he is trapped in there with a alien, and their whole thing is this alien race, just as they were dying, they were launching themselves across space, and by doing it through this, basically going almost subatomic down to the size of an atom pretty much, not only could they launch themselves through space further, it was also helping them launch themselves through time. And they had been basically traveling for thousands upon thousands of years, even though it was only just a few moments to them. In reality, it was thousands of years, and it was in hopes of there being some type of cure for what was wrong with them. Well, you find out that the person that come up with this technology was the reason why this race was pretty much dying off, and they were trying to basically live forever. Well, Reed ends up catapulting himself throughout space and time with this being in this little ship. And right at the moment as they get to the end of everything, the universe, the end of everything, they are literally the last two of anything that's left. A hand comes out of nowhere, and basically, as Reed Richards is dying, a big, massive, yellowy, golden hand pulls Reed Richards back, and it's like, nope, this isn't your time yet. There's still something bigger in store for you, and puts him right back to where he had left the family at. It's just North has done such a really good job with it. My thing on texting Josh was the way this hand situation pulled off. It was almost like, I know who this is supposed to be, but did they really and truly go there? I thought it was done in a great way. I thought it was it's just a phenomenal book. And if you're not reading Fantastic Four by Ryan North, you're really and truly missing out. And yes, Nathaniel Saint, William Dafoe was amazing in that movie. Just the way, like you said, the way he does, describing his character is funny, but the way he describes all the crime scenes in it as they were, and then you flash back, kind of him narrating it, I thought that was great. Next up is literally, it was only 15 issues, but it feels like it was the end of an era. And it was not the ending that I was expecting. It was a sad ending, but it was kind of bittersweet, and that was Nottingham, issue 15. We do kind of get a fast forward. We do find that, yes, they do retake Nottingham. There is a plan. The sheriff of Nottingham really and truly dies a hero. I mean, I know that they were telling the story from the sheriff's perspective. That was always the goal, was to give you a different perspective. But on some level, yes, Robin Hood is the villain. But at the end of it, the way it ends up and what happens with Robin Hood and Maid Marian, you kind of think that they may have escaped into the wood and he'll end up doing things the right way. He'll kind of have no choice now but to fight the proper way. At least that's kind of the way that I took it. Pick up the trades. This is definitely one of the best books that's come out in a long time. If you're local, just tell Josh you need the trades and he can order them. I mean, it's really good. They're not done with it. I think we'll get more, at least with Robin Hood. We'll get more. It's when I say they're not done with it, we're going to get special editions and stuff like that. It's just a great read all the way through. Very good visuals. This would make an excellent Netflix series, or even Amazon Prime. This would make an excellent Amazon Prime series. Next on my list, and I mean, I got like a bunch, but Josh and I both have been screaming about this book since day one. Everybody that we've turned on to this book has completely and totally fallen in love with it. This is literally, in my opinion, the best book on the shelves, period, out of all of the companies. The art, the story, the concept, the world that they've built is absolute perfection. And I'm going to hold off on it because I want to wait till Josh gets back on before we talk about it. So we'll jump to this other one instead. We will jump to Flash Gordon, issue number 2. It's been fun. Y'all need to go buy it. I mean, if people are talking about, I'm tired of this and I'm tired of that, well, I'm giving y'all a book to go buy. Flash Gordon 1 just come out a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. I can't remember at this point. It all kind of blends together. But then we have Flash Gordon 2, and it's been just as good. Flash is now kind of got an uneasy alliance with Ming the Merciless, because they're both on this prison planet. We already know that Ming's going to stab him in the back. The art has been good. It's, for any of y'all out there that likes the Rocketeer comic, you will like this. It's an adventure comic. We don't have anybody that has superpowers. It's literally just a space adventure. And it's got a very old feel to it. That's been really fun just with 2 issues. Next up, and if Marvel does not give us more of this, it will be an absolute travesty. We've got Phases of Moon Knight, issue 1. Our character that we have in here, this fella up here, we do go back in time, and it is kind of implied that he's a Knight Templar without actually calling him a Knight Templar. I believe his name was Kalen, something like that. This was a great story. They need to follow up on this particular character. The entire book can be a period piece. They don't need to bring him into modern times. They could, very easily give us, in my mind, they could give us a good 25 issues of nothing but this character, and it would be really good. He looks cool. The entire concept of it, it's just really good. Next, we have Scarlet issue 4. Cobra. That's all we can really say about it. They're coming. Cobra is going to be I believe Cobra Commander will be in the next issue. We find out a little bit more about this sisterhood that we don't really find out more about it, but we understand the bond more that Scarlet and Jinx have. Yeah, Daniel, this was just a really good issue. Storm Shadow with the sword. Even she's making comments about it. When I say she, I say Scarlet. My only thing is when it comes to Scarlet, how do you have Scarlet without Snake Eyes? How do you? To me, those two, that's like peanut butter and jelly. They're perfection together. I know that they don't want to introduce Snake Eyes yet because they're saving him for something big. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think there's only going to be 5-ish, maybe 6 issues in this miniseries. I don't know who is next after all this because we've had Duke, we've had Cobra Commander, Destro is going on right now, and Scarlet. So I don't know who's next after this. Side note to the G.I. Joe fans, I saw something today about we're getting a G.I. Joe video game. Don't know exactly what's going on with it. I just saw that it was hitting all the major consoles. So I'll definitely be looking into that. I think it's probably going to be a fighting game, which that's fine. I'm cool with a G.I. Joe fighting game. Next up, we have Daredevil issue 13, and this was the Godzilla variant. Y'all know I had to snatch the Godzilla variant. Go watch the short that I did for it. This one picks up almost, actually it does pick up immediately where 12 leaves off. For anybody that's reading it, y'all know that in 12, Daredevil has defeated Kingpin. He's beaten, for the most part, he's defeated him. And at the end of issue 12, Kingpin is crawling toward Daredevil, and it's basically, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." Well, in this, Kingpin is doing everything he can to repent. Elektra does not trust him, but even Daredevil himself is freaked out by how sincere Kingpin is. He is a completely and totally defeated man. He is truly seeking forgiveness, and Daredevil doesn't feel like he has what it takes to forgive him as Father Matthew. He's kind of, there is one thing about this particular issue, and it was just like with issue 12 when Kingpin was crawling toward him, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." How do you end this book the way they ended it with that last page, especially when you realize what was on fire? This was a great issue, like Daniel says, so good. But the end of it, with the way he was kind of quoting scripture at one point, and then he's also kind of telling you things that it's really, I don't want to really say quoting scripture, but he is pulling from scripture some of the things that he's talking about with fire. But then the way that what he sets on fire and how he's left standing there over it, it was one of those where you see that page and you see that art and the way that it's done, and you're just screaming no, begging for another page. It's just so good right now. Have you read? No, you haven't read this because you hadn't been to the store. Never mind.
Yeah, sorry, I had an internal organ removed.
No excuses. None. None.
You could have brought them to me.
You know what? So could Justin. Justin could literally put them out on Tuesday nights and run them to your house.
Well, that would be true if we had gotten our books on time the past 2 weeks.
That's a good point. I'll give you that one.
Let's talk about our diamond shipment this week, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Real quick. UPS comes and says, oh, you know what? Your shipment for this week is not on our truck. I remember I tried to deliver it last night at 7 o'clock, and instead of marking, yeah, I tried to deliver it once, I marked, this was the third time that I tried to deliver it, so we have to send it back to the shipper. So I spent Tuesday on the phone with UPS where they acknowledged their error, and they're like, we found it. It's all good. We're going to have this on the truck. It'll be delivered to you tomorrow. So that's what they told me on Tuesday. It did not show up on Wednesday. I checked the tracking, and our package was in Atlanta. By some miracle, we got it today.
Justin could have drove to Atlanta and got it.
We could have. Lazy rascal. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Boo to you, Nick.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. Now, since you're back on, we'll talk about this book right quick because I'm hoping you got it because I really wanted to talk about it. Which is, I stand by it. It's the best thing on the shelves, and if you're not reading it, you're not reading the best thing on the shelf. Hunger in the Dusk,
Oh, yeah.
Book 2, Issue 2. Have you read this yet?
Mm-hmm.
I love.
You're a little late on that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. But I mean, I just kind of grabbed, since we weren't on last week, I just grabbed a mix of last week's, the last couple of weeks, and threw them in here. I love the fact that you're expecting him to show up at any given moment.
And you really are.
Yeah, any given panel, you're expecting him to pop into it. And when you finally see him on the last page, it still shocks you.
You did check up on me. That's true.
Yes, he did. He's a good boy.
But I really thought you meant, like, did you need, like, food or something? I didn't think about comics. I was not exactly in the most lucid state.
Oh, that's the perfect time to read comics.
There's some comics, that's the only way to read them.
I mean, I know that I had a nasty sinus infection. I know that I had probably taken too much antihistamines, but to this day, I swear to God, in that Batman comic book, he said, I am arugula. You cannot convince me otherwise. But Hunger in the Dusk.
Don't make me laugh. God dang it, man.
Hunger in the Dusk. Y'all have got to start reading this book. Next up.
Anybody who's not reading Hunger in the Dusk really should be reading that book. If you like fantasy stuff at all, if you like Tolkien, if you like any of that kind of vein of stuff at all, Hunger in the Dusk is spectacular. The storytelling is really high level. The world building is superlative. The artwork is fantastic. It's just a beautifully done book, and we should be supporting books like that.
Yeah, Nick, this is a book that you really need to be on. You would love this book. I mean, I can think of a handful of people right now. I don't know if they're reading it or not that would absolutely love it. And Nick, you're at the top of that list.
I am arugula.
Yeah, really. I guess that's what I get for reading comic books and taking Sudafed at the same time.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yep. Next up, I don't know what to think about this. This one kind of threw me for a little bit because I knew what I was expecting, but I did get what I was expecting, but not really got what maybe you can explain it to me. That's Rook Exodus, issue 5.
Oh yeah, that was that
Um,
wasn't quite. Yeah, I was kind of with you in the same boat. Like, not what I was expecting. Definitely what I was expecting. Holy smokes! I had to kind of go back and look at it again. Did you
yeah.
do that?
Now, please do not anybody take that the wrong way. This was a great issue. I mean, absolutely great.
And
Um,
the artwork continues to be just absolutely stellar.
yeah. So here's my thing, and for those of you, y'all are going to laugh when I say it, but that's really his name in the comic book. Was Pumbaa a figment of his imagination? Was Pumbaa really there?
No, I think
Was
Pumbaa was really there.
was he? I mean, but if Pumbaa was really there, that means he was talking to Puma without the helmet.
That's right.
How was he doing that?
Don't know. That's part of what I think is going on.
And then the leader of the birds, the fight or flight, and the it's like, no, you're wrong. It's flight and fight.
Yeah.
And him just stepping off the cliff and just giving into him,
Uh huh.
you see that coming. You know that's what you're expecting. But when it happens, the way it happens is still shocking because he's got a friggin' wild boar standing behind him, talking to him, egging him on.
And that's when you realize the genius of Jeff Johns as a writer.
Yeah.
The way that he conveyed that whole thing was just brilliant. And that where he just says, you know what, heck with it, and rolls with it, and you're like, but dude, you can't fly. You just jumped off a cliff. You can't fly.
And so this right here, and for those of you that have seen it, and if you hadn't seen it in a long time, I do suggest go back to and watching it, and you'll truly understand what I'm talking about. In the very first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, you could not tell when they were awake or when they were asleep. The dreams and real life were integrated together, and it was seamless the way they did it. So, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because in this particular issue, he's having these memories and you're experiencing these memories with him. And it was seamless the way that it was because is it real life or is it a delusion? You know, we're in the memory, but then wait a minute, where did Pumbaa come from?
Is this the real?
I mean, it was just the book. Honestly, issue 5 was kind of a strange issue, but it was perfect.
It was strange, but it was awesome.
But it was the type of strange that fits this. I mean, it was so good. And this is another one of those where you see it and you're like, well, that's a really cool looking cover. Well, this cover ties into this story so much, it's not even funny. I mean, it's just a great read. Oh, wait a minute. Somehow we had another Green Arrow book sneak in.
There you go, Mike.
I got 3 left. One of them, we've been singing their praises since they started doing it, and this one was no different. We've got Cruel Universe issue 2.
So great.
So bizarre.
So utterly bizarre, but it's so fun.
But isn't there a part of you that kind of wants to go to that farm to see how happy they are?
A little bit.
that one was mind-boggling. The ray gun, great. Because let's be honest, we all know that if we had a ray gun that could pull something like that off, we'd probably use it.
100%.
Yeah, we'd probably use it. Just another fun read, and I know that these are going to be limited series. I'm going to hate to see this come to an end. I really
They're
am.
saying 12 issues now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. I'll take all 12
Yeah,
of them.
initially it was 6, and now it's 12. I like that.
Next up, I have no idea what this was actually supposed to be about because I'm not keeping up with this storyline. I didn't even know this was a storyline until I picked this up and read it. It was still a good issue. I didn't need to understand the storyline to understand the issue. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And That was the Moon Knight annual. It's part of this whole Infinity Watch thing.
Which I'm not a fan of, but I have not read that annual yet, so you clue me in.
It's good. It's kind of creepy.
Good.
Basically, it starts off with Moon Knight is talking about there's almost like these spirits. They're called BAs. It's an Egyptian thing. And he finds one.
Like
And
B.A. Baracus?
yeah, really. But it's like a white dove, except it's got a human's head.
I pity the fool.
And that head does represent the person that BA has come from.
Okay.
He follows it back to this hospital, and in this hospital, he sees a bunch of them flying around. But there's a woman laying in the hospital bed, and he's asking the doctor about this woman. And it's basically, hey, we don't know anything about her. She passed out. There's nothing wrong with her. She just won't wake up. He realizes that these BAs are a manifestation of nightmares, and she's trapped in a nightmare. And she's actually being hunted by the character Nightmare because she has the Mind Stone.
Interesting.
And Nightmare wants the Mind Stone so he can basically put the entire world to sleep and take it over. But the problem is when Moon Knight goes into the Nightmare, it's really cool. He does not go into her nightmare. He pulls her into his dreams. So this character Nightmare that's hunting her does not just face Moon Knight. In fact, he doesn't face Moon Knight at all. He faces Jake and Steven and then Khonshu. And they tear him apart. They scare him so bad, he has to come out of the dream world and into the real world just so he can kind of continue his mission. And then that's when he faces Moon Knight.
Sweet. That actually sounds really good.
It was a really good issue. Like I said, I know it did have the Death Stone saga, chapter 7 at the end of it. I did not understand a bit of that because I'm not reading this Infinity Watch thing or Death Stone thing. But this was a really good, a good standalone issue. I really wish they would not tie annuals into crossover story arcs.
100% agree. They did the same thing last year, though. Remember that stupid, whatever that story was? It was an interesting because they were just pitting random people against each other in fights, and he won the fight by not fighting. He's like, I've had all that power before. You can have it.
Yep.
I don't want it.
There was that one Moon Knight issue where this was several years ago. It wasn't an issue, it was an annual where he faced Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, that one was brilliant.
Throughout all the ages. So
that was so good.
That's the way they need to be doing these annuals. You got the entire story in one thing. You didn't have to go anywhere else. It didn't involve anybody, and it wasn't a crossover. Next up, which is my last book that I have, and then we can move on to something else. It's another Absolute Power tie-in. I absolutely loved this book for one simple reason. Chip Zdarsky is literally honoring the past. And that is Batman issue 152?
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm going to say is they met on a beach. Perfect. I'm guessing you haven't read it because I think it just came out last week.
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin this one. I want you to read this one. I want you to experience this one with fresh eyes. It's so good.
All right.
So good. But really and truly what you need to be, the story is there. We're still dealing with that situation with the mother box, what all they're doing and all that stuff. But where they end up escaping, pay attention to the interactions and the conversation between him and Catwoman, and then where they end up escaping to, why he went there. And especially if you read the Tom King run,
Sure.
you know why this place is so important to him and why it's so important to them. And it was just, I mean, it honestly, for lack of a better word, it was kind of a beautiful moment there toward the end. You're like, okay, they're finally getting just a little bit of a break, as much of a break as they can get.
That's awesome.
So
I like that.
Yeah, I had a few.
You did have a few. I missed the conversation about Fantastic Four 24 because that was right when I had to jump off for a minute. So whose hand was that?
The way I took it, the way that it looked, the moment that it happened, the wording and everything, it honestly comes across as the hand of God.
Awesome.
I mean, it really does, because it's kind of, Reed is at that moment where, and it's truly a death moment. I mean, there's no coming back from this because there's nothing to come back to. He's literally at the end of the universe, at the end of time itself. And at the moment when he should have faded into nothing, this big, massive golden hand just kind of comes out of nowhere and just kind of scoops him out of it and puts him right back to where he was. And it's like, nope, you're not done yet. There's more for you to do.
Interesting.
Yep. So, and that's literally the way that it comes across.
Well, I look forward to reading that. So have you been reading all Absolute Power?
I have not been reading all of it. I've been picking up some issues here and there. The ones
I mean, it's just the one series, right? I mean, I'm not talking about the tie-ins. I'm just talking about Absolute Power.
Yeah. Has issue 3 come out yet? Or did that come out this week?
Yeah. I have not been to the store yet. Though Tom did send me a picture. I can't wait to actually see it. Much obliged. Thank you, Mike. You are the man. But no, we will do the presentation after I'm able to pick it up. I have not been to the store since I had the surgery. Yeah. No, Absolute Power number 3 is out. We had somebody, a customer, who picked up Absolute Power number 1 very begrudgingly. And I'm like, trust me, you're going to love this. And he's like, And then the next morning, I get a message from him on Facebook saying, do you have number 2? He's like, is it too late to put me on the list for this one? I'm like, no, it's not too late. You're all good. It's so beautifully done. It is so well done. It's awesome. But I bring that up because Absolute Power drives straight into what they're calling DC All-In Special. And I was just on a retailer roundtable with the creators, so Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson were doing this roundtable, and really interesting stuff. This book, this All-In Special, is a flip book. So if you start with it this way and you flip the pages, you get to the halfway point, and there's a big 2-page spread. And if you flip the book over and start the other direction and read it from the other direction, you get to the middle, and there's this 2-page spread, and it all makes sense. That's the culminating moment of both stories, right? One side of that story is our heroes as we know them today. The heroes that are in the world that we are used to reading them in. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, all these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of it is the Absolute Universe. And Darkseid is the driving force in both of these. Essentially, it's what if Darkseid... Oh man, I don't want to ruin this. There is a character in the DC universe that has a power that doesn't get nearly enough credit for being as powerful as it is. Okay?
The weird?
You're not too far off. Um, the opportunity is presented for Darkseid to take that power by merging with this other character. And Darkseid does that. And Darkseid goes from being holy crap to holy crap, everybody run.
Mixelplick.
Darn it, you're right. No, definitely not. It's a serious, legit, honest to goodness character.
Right? Oh, well, then it's a Batmite. Everybody knows it's Batmite then.
Exactly. It's Crypto the Superdog. But no, for real, legit. Darkseid becomes he goes from being just like, okay, this very powerful creature to the same power level plus this whole different power set, and it's freaky and it's not great. And that's part of how we get the spinoff of the Absolute Universe.
So, okay, the way, number one, you saying that makes one part of Batman 152 make even more sense, because Darkseid does have a cameo in Batman 152.
I'm just going to say that's not it, Daniel, but that would be amazing.
That would be. This thing about All In, though,
the way Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson described it, they're like, we decided to call it All In because that's what we're doing.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is it going to be like Elseworlds, or is it going to take over continuity for a while?
The Absolute Universe is a different continuity.
Okay.
It's like the Ultimate Universe.
Okay.
So you've got two different books side by side. Two different versions of Bruce Wayne.
Gotcha.
Et cetera, et cetera. The power and what Darkseid becomes makes him a really interesting character. The effect that this has on the universe and the way that it spawns off this whole Absolute Universe is really interesting. But when they talk about this Absolute Universe, they're like, we decided we didn't want to do any half measures. We didn't want to do anything halfway. We didn't want to hold our cards all close to the chest. We're just going all in. And so that's why they're calling this special the All In Special. And if you look on the cover of Absolute, the All In Special, you'll see that it's got the Darkseid Omega in the middle, but one side of it is flipped the other way.
Yeah.
That's because it's a flip book, right? But they talked a lot about how essentially they were given free creative freedom to do what they want, and they're running with it. And I was going to check out all of these Absolute books anyway, but now I'm really excited for them. I still think the symbol on the Batman chest is utterly stupid looking, and I think it's even weirder that it turns into an axe. Like, how can he move if this massive thing on his chest is an axe head? I mean, come on.
It's Batman.
Yeah, it's Mega Batman on steroids. But anyway, yeah, his ears come off and he throws them at people, and his symbol, his giant clunky looking symbol on his chest, is an axe head. So, great question there, Bill. Are we going to have extra copies? It is a one shot, and yes, we are ordering quite a lot of copies. I want everybody who wants one to be able to get their hands on it. So we are going to have plenty of extras. I would say if you have not signed up for the Absolute books and you want to, I would do that pretty quick because we've ordered heavy on those too, but they're going to sell fast.
Check the private chat for a second.
All right.
I just sent you a question. You can just say one or two.
All right. Neither.
Really? The reason why I come up with those two is because I was looking at something and he kind of ends up going somewhere. Oh. Yeah.
Picture that.
Hey, Bill, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, pick it up, brother. Just pick it up.
It's going to be something special. It really is. And these guys are they're creators who know what they're doing, and they are going full out all the way, hitting the gas pedal to the metal. It may be a crash, in which case it will be a spectacular crash.
So
but I think it's just going to be impressive.
How long is this supposed to run?
The Absolute Universe?
Yeah.
They are listed as ongoing titles.
Oh, so they're going to do it just like Marvel is with the Ultimate Universe then?
Yes.
Oh.
That's correct.
All right.
Scott Snyder, I think it was Scott Snyder, might have been Josh Williamson. One or the other of them said they've got up through issue 15 of their book plotted out already.
Now, is the plan to eventually have everybody have their own thing in All In, or are they just going to go with like core titles?
I think it will do exactly like the Ultimate Universe, and that they will grow it to the size that it can bear.
Okay.
The size that people want to do it. But if it's like the Ultimate Universe, I suspect they will have creators saying, I've always wanted to tell a revised, modernized story of this character, and I think this is the perfect setting. And I imagine they're going to get a lot of pitches for Green Arrow and Martian Manhunter and whomever else, Flash or whatever. I'm trying to picture Absolute Aquaman. I don't know what that looks like, but
there's certain characters they should leave alone though. Like, I don't think we should if we get an Absolute Hawkman, it should be like a cameo or something.
Well, a lot of characters can't sustain a book in the regular universe. They're not going to be able to sustain a book in the other one either.
Now, if they want to try,
honest.
If they would like to attempt an Absolute Dr. Fate, I mean, I would definitely give it the old college try.
And who could blame you? But yeah, I suspect they're going to wrangle their way around into it, and they may introduce characters, secondary, tertiary characters in the Absolute books that they are coming out with right away, the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, that catch on and are popular in that form, and they may get their own books that spin out of that. But you never know. Sometimes a different take on a character catches on in an alternate world. Who knows? But no, I'm really excited for it. I went from being like, well, whatever, to, man, this Absolute Power is really, really, really good, to, okay, this All-In special sounds amazing, to, okay, I went from curious about these Absolute books to now I really want to read them. We'll see.
All right, let's see what we can find right quick.
But yeah, it's going to be really, really good. I will say, and I have to give Josh Williamson credit for this, he clearly has multiple shelves full of action figures at his house, because if he's on a G.I. Joe retailer roundtable, he's got nothing but G.I. Joe action figures behind him. And if he's on a DC retailer roundtable the next day, he's got nothing but DC action figures behind him.
So all he's really doing is just turning his chair, just turning the laptop.
That's right.
So, Bill, you are correct. From what I'm seeing, that should be March 2025 for Absolute Flash, and they have an Absolute Green Lantern.
Who are they announcing as the creative team? Have they?
So, yeah, give me just a second. So for Batman, we got Scott Snyder and Dragata. Wonder Woman is Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. Superman is Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval.
Yeah, Rafa Sandoval is really good.
Absolute Flash is Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles.
Jeff Lemire, that's weird. Okay.
And then Absolute Green Lantern is Al Ewing and Jahani Lindsay.
So Al Ewing. All right, that's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
I'm trying to. Huh? I'm looking at Al Ewing's credentials.
Are you looking at Immortal Hulk?
Yep.
That's the big one. Did you ever read Immortal Hulk?
Nope.
The way you like horror, that's criminal.
I've never been a big Hulk fan, to be honest.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You read the first 12 issues, 18 issues of Immortal Hulk. Trust me.
So is he a good horror writer?
He takes Hulk from being any kind of a superhero flavor book at all to Hulk is an instrument of cosmic justice, cosmic vengeance. And yes, it is an absolute horror book.
Then I definitely want to read Green Lantern, because you could definitely do stuff like that with Green Lantern.
You absolutely could. But Hulk is trying to die in several cases, right? And the end of issue 7, I think it is, the very last panel, the last page of issue 7, when you turn the page, it's just Hulk cut up into a whole bunch of parts in jars. And you're like, what in the world? And then his eye opens, and he's like, well, I guess that didn't kill me. Darn it. But it was all an experiment. He was just doing it because he didn't think it was going to kill him, but it was worth a shot. But the end of the second issue, when he finds out what this bad guy has been doing to people, he finds out what it is, and he just buries the guy alive, and then walks away, and you can just hear the theme song from the TV show going. Exactly. Trust me when I say, you read the first trade of Immortal Hulk and tell me you don't want to read the second one. It is phenomenal.
I might check it out.
You need to. You need to. But let's see, not to change, because we got to see what you guys think of. Yeah, he's got his own creator-owned stuff he wants to do, and this whole universe he wants to do, and so he's ending his run on Transformers at 24 issues. I don't know what to think about that. I think it's a shame. Oh, coughing sucks. Because he's done a really, really good job on Transformers. But I think there are other folks who can pick it up and run with it. I think he's certainly built a really strong foundation, so we'll see what happens. I trust Skybound to bring in somebody good to run it. I'll say that.
On a side note, I'm very proud of this text conversation that's going on with Nick right now.
Oh, yeah, that you should be proud. And I have an idea I want to run past you guys. Tell me what y'all think. And chime in the chat, because I'm going to need to know your thoughts on this too, right? and remember the time of year because that's important. Uh, the new GI Joe #1 from Energon Universe comes out November 13th, I believe, is the street date. And I've been trying to think of something fun to do to promote that book and to promote the sales of that and doing an event up at the store, right? And here's what I've been thinking. You sign up for that book at the store, you declare G.I. Joe or Cobra when you do that, okay? Then you come to the store and we are going to have a big, whichever side you signed up for, you fight on, water balloon fight in the side yard there at the shop. What do y'all think? Who wants to throw water balloons at each other for the sake of comic book fun? What you think there, Alan?
The time of year is going to be kind of hard because we just don't know what November is going to be like. It's either going to be 104 or -3.
Right. Either way, it makes it either really refreshing or really, really painful.
Yeah. But, I mean, if it's cold, who really wants to get in their car wet to drive home?
Oh, come on. We'll have towels.
So,
I mostly just want to throw water balloons at Nick.
what about you declare G.I. Joe or Cobra that Saturday? We have a coin toss, and the winner, G.I. Joe or Cobra, gets to throw pies at Nick and myself. And the loser has to donate 5 cans of soup or whatever that we can drop off at Manor House. That's 5 cans for each person.
It's interesting. I like the tie to Manor House. That's good.
Yep. So you can, if you win, you get to throw pies at Nick and myself in some type of like setup that we would have. If you lose, you have to donate 5 cans of say soup. You know, something with a pop top, something easy. So that way, in the end, nobody's really losing.
What do you guys think? Sound off in the chat. Yeah, where do you sign up for coconut cream pies? I'd take one of those.
Now, let me tell you what. If you throw a lemon ice box at me, I might be trying to help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to miss. We'll continue to think on this. We have a little bit of time, but I definitely want to do something. Something as a big battle on the G.I. Joe Cobra front, because that sounds fun. And supporting some of our neighbors here in the North Alabama area, that sounds fun too. We should definitely do that. Big fan of that. Other thing I'm thinking about, Monsters #1, the Mark Spears comic, comes out on September 23rd, I think. 23rd, 25th. Let me see what day it is. 25th. Comes out on September 25th. And so we are going to have Mark up at the shop that Wednesday afternoon from 5 to 7 to do a signing. He'll be doing remarks and signings and such for folks. So come on out, and we'll have plenty of copies of that. Pick up your copies of Monsters #1. Get Mark to sign those for you. I'll sign them for you too. he included me in there because I did a quick proofread of the comic, and he put me in there. So I have a official comic listing.
Yeah, and Josh is the character design for the first person you see in the book.
That is not true. I don't look near as good as that dude. That is not me.
Part of me keeps forgetting that you and I are really and truly the two of the only people that have seen that book. They'll understand that here soon.
They will understand it soon enough, and I will have to just keep reiterating over and over that is not me. But I will also be happy to sign your book for you. I can drive the value straight down for this book. But anyway, that'll be Wednesday, September 25th. We'll be doing a signing up at the shop. You definitely want to get there. And yes, Mike, signing and remarks. So we'll make sure that that you get the coveted first spot in line, as you well deserve.
Do you know what times the 25th?
5 to 7.
What time?
5 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
We're catching the I got off work crowd.
All right, that works.
And I can go and get my comics signed and such. And I will say, because he's probably not watching, but he sent me a little something earlier today, God love him, saying, hey, issue number 2, he wants to put in a little tribute to Alex in issue number 2. So that's awesome. He wants to scan in a little bit of Alex's artwork that we have up at the shop and have a few words in there about Alex. So God bless him for doing that. I think that's a great tribute to a guy who would have been thrilled to see his friend publishing a comic and would have contributed something to it in a great way. Because Alex was the man. Sure enough. But I tell you, man, I don't know about you, but I am still on the mend, and I'm running out of gas a little bit. So I think we're probably at a good place to call it for the night, unless you have something else you just really want to talk about.
No, we can call it an early night. We're still dealing with storms and stuff here, so that'll be kind of nice to see what's fixing to happen around here. There was something I was going to ask you about, and I can't remember now, so I guess it wasn't that important. Guess it was not. I mean, if y'all think of something, I mean, I'm fine with letting people sling pies at me for a good cause. I mean, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, true that. The fringes of Hurricane Francine are hitting us pretty hard. Thanks, Francine.
They really need to come up with cooler names.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, no wonder this hurricane is mad.
Yeah, really.
You could come up with a name that wasn't real popular when my grandmother was a kid.
Francine. Oh, and Nick, I saw this. Hang on a second. That's your generation, son, not mine. We flat out declared winners and losers and took out ads in newspapers when I was growing up. Y'all had Upward Sports. Everybody, we don't keep score. Everybody's a winner. Bullshit.
I hate you so hard right now. Oh, y'all had Upward Sports. You are such a jerk.
Just call it like I see it. Call it like I see it.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That hurts.
Look it up. I'm sure you played it. That's just your generation. You just don't realize you played it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Upward soccer, upward basketball. Yeah, I think you're right. I want to say only the first compendium, volume 1, is coming out in October, because they did a weird thing where they also did just the one volume. That's coming out in October. The full box sets are not coming out until December, I think. And then they're going to be out in March for the international market. I think that's the timeline.
I don't even care about the state market. So, I mean, all I care about is the market right here.
Yeah. But no, they showed some pictures of these books today, and the edges of the pages are like different colors: gold, green, blue, black, whatever, depending on Cobra, GI Joe. It's pretty cool. They look pretty amazing. I'm excited to get those in. I have no idea at all where I'm going to put them. I don't have the shelf space.
Oh, neither do I. I mean, but only thing I can do is just worry about getting them in the house. I'll figure it out after that.
That's right.
I just need them to show up.
And I'm still torn over whether to bring home two versions. It's the dumbest thing in the world, and I'm so mad at them for making me think.
I want the Cobra version. That's all I want. I'll be happy and content with the Cobra version.
So, like, oh. But yeah.
I'm sorry. I cannot let this go. Nick, when you were little, did you ever play basketball or soccer at a church?
That's pretty much it. Nick played wrestling.
I am like just waiting for a comment to pop off. I mean, I'm just dying. I need to see it. I just need it.
Well, now he's not going to answer you.
Now he's not going to answer because he's sitting there probably thinking, son of a.
I suspect you are correct.
Nobody kept score and everybody got a ribbon.
Nobody kept score.
All right, well, we will let you go so you can heal.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's my boy right there. That's my boy.
Stop making me laugh.
But laughter is the best medicine.
It actually said on the paperwork I got when they released me from the hospital, in this case, laughter is not the best medicine.
Did it really?
It really did.
Let's see, I would have busted out laughing just reading that.
I would have, except I was really stoned.
Well,
yeah, apparently I just kept sitting there going, this hurts. This hurts. Apparently I said that a lot.
I liked him.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time.